Disclaimer: I do not own JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is owned and created by Hirohiko Araki, Shueisha, Weekly Shonen Jump, David Productions, and APPP. Please support the official releases. Good day, awesome YouTubers. It is Lollyman16 here again for another anime review, and on today's review, we're talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1, Phantom Blood. I haven't seen a series quite like this one. It's really full of both drama, action, and surprisingly, a lot of science. For this series, I'll be delving into the plot, the character aesthetics, animation quality, and overall thoughts. And you don't have to worry, guys. This review will be as non-spoiler as I can, but be warned, there will be some things and some revelations in this series that, if you haven't seen yet, you should really check out first. So the plot of this series, or at least the first part of an 8-part series, involves a man by the name of Jonathan Joestar, formerly a rich kid who later gets into a feud with his poorer and adopted brother, and also son of an alcoholic, Dio Brando. He goes through various trials and hardships, meeting some rather very interesting friends, I should say, and in the end becoming a man and fulfilling pretty much the goal. Although this series takes place in the late 1800s in what is presumably Japan, it quickly moves into London, England, and later on even America, showing some real-life places and real-life things that I wouldn't expect from any other anime. The show goes from ordinary to supernatural fairly quickly, hence giving this series the name Bizarre Adventure. JoJo Part 1 is a fun one for sure, and there's a lot of action in every episode with lots of plot twists and wacky characters, which will definitely have viewers not feeling bored at all. I really liked the very creative fight sequences and wacky characters, even though they were short-lived. In fact, the entire story feels really short because it's only 9 episodes long. This is the main problem I had with Part 1. The story is only 9 episodes, and it feels like the entire life story of a man is trying to be told within that time. Luckily, however, the story moves on to a Part 2 where we have another protagonist, the son and other relatives, etc., of the main protagonist, Jonathan Joestar. Another major character problem that I have is the supporting characters. You barely get to see them, and even though you do actually know the backstories, they end up either washed away or just not used at all, or even dead by the time the story ends. It's like the mentor thing in One Piece, where, or really, not really One Piece, but any other series where in fact the main mentor of the main protagonist dies in the end, and it does tell that tale here, but the problem is it's so short. Take for instance Baron Zeppeli, and here's where the spoilers are going to come in. Baron Zeppeli was the mentor of Jonathan Joestar, and although he was his mentor, he dies almost at the last episode, and we only get to see him for a couple of episodes, even though he did live a pretty good life and gave a pretty, I should say, good legacy to Jonathan Joestar. It's like it's really One Piece, but it's not really, because this series is not supposed to be a long-running series. It's supposed to be a combination of short, interesting, wacky, bizarre stories. Hence the name, as I said earlier, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. While the character dynamic between Jonathan and the main antagonist, Dio, is interesting, it's kind of like a Naruto Sasuke thing, or even, heck, a Goku and Vegeta thing. If you guys don't know, I am a very big Dragon Ball fan, and I have reviewed the Dragon Ball series, even Dragon Ball Super up until that point. You can check it out in the description below. However, Jonathan himself, or as they call him, JoJo, he's kind of a bland guy, and his attitude doesn't really help. But I digress. What makes a protagonist really great, even though their character isn't, is the villain. Dio Brando isn't really a tragic character, but I think I see where his evil side comes from, besides the point that he used the mask and all that kind of supernatural stuff. But I didn't like in the end that Dio kept coming back, and yes, I know he's supposed to be a main antagonist, but having him come back after defeat after defeat after defeat, it's kind of like a running gag, and honestly, it made me feel like this is more of a cartoon than an actual story anime. But then again, this story again is not supposed to be One Piece or Dragon Ball or Bleach or any of those shonen shows. Heck, this is a seinen series and there's a lot of blood in it. For example, when zombies' heads get cut off, or heck, even people get piercing through the hand, or really grotesque, really violent stuff when babies get eaten. It's pretty grotesque stuff, and it's definitely not made for children under the age of, I'd say, maybe 17, 18, that kind of age. But anyway, overall, JoJo is the second longest manga running series in Weekly Shonen Jump, and it's a huge series, selling over 100 million copies, and I can definitely see why. Besides that, the visuals, although they're not One Punch Man level or anything, they're still pretty darn good, and it's definitely not bad at all. Also, the openings, I should say, are animated in a very different style. It's a kind of a CG manga panel type opening animation style, and it's really a treat for those who are just so used to the traditional style. It's really good to see a change here and there. Overall, I'd say JoJo is a very fun series, and I'd definitely give it a go if you're looking for a short series with wacky characters and awesome fight scenes. That's been my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1 Phantom Blood, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it gave you some insight on the series, and if you do want to go check it out, I'd recommend you watch it on Crunchyroll. I will leave that in the description below. Thank you all for tuning in today. I'll see you guys later. Stay awesome, everybody, and have a good one.